your shop ready for wage increases? With wages increasing across the country, some states as high as $15 an hour, some states with salary increases, this could affect your shop, especially with bridal shops having that base pay at an hourly rate and then performance-based pay like commissions on top of that. This affects your payroll, your team, and your bottom line. So don't worry, we're going to break this down into some simple steps so that you can navigate this with confidence and keep your bridal shop running smoothly. So the first thing that can happen as a result of minimum wage increases is wage compression. So you want to brace for this wage compression. So what is wage compression? This is when minimum wages rise, but then the pay gap between those entry-level roles and experienced roles shrinks. And this can create some tension if it's not addressed. So this is how to address it. First, review those pay bands. Just know what is going to happen when those minimum wages increase. Audit compensation across all roles so that you know exactly what is going to happen with your hourly roles, your salary roles, and how that relates to your commission and how you're going to adjust that. So audit that from stylists to your managers. And then as much as you can, ensure that your pay structure remains fair and competitive across those roles. Now, what you can do, if you can't do this through your base pay or your performance-based pay, take a look at your benefits. Now, there's some non-monetary benefits that you might be able to address. So for example, if across-the-board raises aren't feasible, consider boosting benefits like flexible schedules, team incentives, performance bonuses are monetary, but just looking at those in conjunction with your base pay. And then finally, communicate clearly. Communication is so important. Acknowledge the impact of the wage hikes with your team and just show that you're aware of what's going on. So for example, you might have this manager that's been with you forever, and then she might all of a sudden be making the same or similar to somebody that just came in 2 weeks ago. So it's really important that you acknowledge what's going on. Where are you now? Where are you going to be in the future? The second big thing is to calculate the overall total impact on the business financially. So you want to understand the full picture here. Your wage increases are going to affect more than just your base pay, your hourly base pay. So you can expect higher payroll taxes, benefits, and overtime expenses. So run the numbers. Here's some actionable steps. Run the numbers. Use your payroll data to calculate the true cost of the wage hike. Account for potential cascading effects on commissions and bonuses. What does this mean for the big picture? And also plan for overtime. So in those peak seasons, if your hourly wage is increasing, that means you're going to have a big bump in those peak seasons. So if your team is working long hours, budget for that higher overtime pay if you rely on overtime in those peak seasons. This is really important to plan out your compensation structure, because what you have been living with a compensation structure to date, what I mean by compensation structure is your base pay, your commission, your bonuses, right? So if all of a sudden your base pay costs more in relation to your commissions, you might need to rethink what you're paying in your commissions. So take a look at that compensation structure. You might need to change it. Analyze whether that current mix of base pay and commission still works for you, and adjust it to keep those costs manageable. You might need to work with your accountant, your financial advisor to figure this stuff out if you're feeling a little bit over your head right now. The third thing that you can do is offset those extra labor costs creatively. So first, combine automations and outsourcing for places where your labor is not essential or just too high. This is something that you should always be assessing. So you can use tools like QuickBooks, Gusto, Bridal, all kinds of other software tools to automate create efficiencies across accounting, payroll, scheduling, inventory management, etc. And then outsourcing tasks can save you labor costs as well while improving efficiency. Our firm, for example, we have come in and either sometimes replaced a full-time employee when that employee is ready to leave, or when it's deemed that having a full-time bookkeeper is not cost effective, or sometimes when it makes sense for a full-time bookkeeper to be working elsewhere in the business where that's more cost effective. Also, streamline operations. Identify inefficiencies in your workflows and improve processes where you just have labor bloat, where you have people spending too much time doing work. So just identify those inefficiencies. And then finally, adjust pricing in areas where you have people just spending a lot of time serving your customers, and consider modest price increases in those areas for those services. You can charge rush fees. Just places where you have high labor costs, you should be charging for that labor. Finally, number 4 is just stay attuned to changes in these laws. This is important. Even if your state isn't raising those minimum wages, your city, town, municipality might be. So just pay attention to those local laws. Compliance with local laws is essential, especially for multi-location shops. You want to stay ahead, keep informed, research your local regulations and stay on top of them. Check your minimum wage laws in your state, city, or county, and then plan ahead. You don't want to be caught last minute scrambling to try to keep up, especially when communication with your team is required. Remember, we talked about your compensation structure. You don't want to be trying to communicate with your team about a compensation structure at the last minute. So just keep up on this stuff and stay ahead. With the right strategies, you can support your team and keep your bridal shop running strong. Drop a comment below and let us know how you're planning for these changes. I would love to hear from you. If you found this video helpful, like it, subscribe, hit the bell so you can keep getting tips like this. You can find out more about us at Bridal.Vision. I'm Ingrid Heilke of BridalVision Financial. Let's keep building successful bridal shops together.